Hello, hello. Success Coach Amy here with another flaming hot topic from Blaze. Building a life with action, zen, and energy. So today's topic, you like my cockeyed videos today? Today's topic is you're doing it wrong. It doesn't matter if you're talking to a coworker, a significant other, a family member, a friend, your child. It's so frustrating when someone says to you, oh, you should be doing it this way. Whether it's, right now I'm talking about parenting. I go into some families' homes and it's such a negative experience. There's a lot of yelling, kids are just throwing things, and all you hear of the negative words. So for example, to be strength-based, instead of saying, stop running in my house, you might say, please walk. Use your walking feet. Things like that. But in the moment when you're so frustrated, you're not thinking of being strength-based. You're not thinking of using nice words. You're just like, you want the kid to stop. I totally get that. Been there. It's just so frustrating when you know what someone needs to do and they don't do it, and you model it and you tell them. You can give them articles, you can have them watch videos or whatever, and it's just so frustrating. It's like, you're doing it wrong. Stop yelling at your kid. It's not gonna do any good. I don't believe in spanking. I don't believe in any kind of punishment like that. That's just not how I was raised, and I did not raise my kids that way. I do believe that, in extreme circumstance, kids are running out into the road and the first instinct is to grab them, and it might be really harshly. So I get it that that's a thing. That's a safety issue. But in general, just to grab your kid when they're just doing something wrong in their house, you're doing it wrong. That is not teaching them anything, except that you're going to grab them and their parent or whatever is hurting them. That's not teaching them anything. For the basics, like I always hear these two examples. How do you teach a child to swim? Throw them in the deep end and make sure that they don't drown. Well, that's not teaching them to swim. It's not. You need to get in the pool and you need to work with them. That's your job as a parent. Or if you don't want to do it, you hire someone to do swim lessons. Then that's their job. Same thing with riding a bike. Don't put them at the top of the hill and be like, good luck, see you later. Because kids don't always learn. Kids often do not learn by just doing. They have to be taught. And the worst part for a lot of parents or caregivers is that sometimes you have to do that over and over and over again. And that gets really frustrating. She's like, how do you not know how to do this by now? Well, let's see. If you're talking to a 5-year-old who's trying to learn to ride a bike, their brain and their bodies are not working at the same pace. So yeah, you're gonna have to keep repeating yourself. Stay calm. Know that they will get it. It's just gonna take some time. But again, if you're just gonna leave them outside and let them figure it out, you're doing it wrong. Yes, there are occasions when there are some kids that can figure this stuff out, or maybe they want to do it on their own, and that's fabulous. Or maybe they have an older sibling or a friend who's been doing this thing, the swimming, the bike, whatever it is, jump roping, roller skating, it doesn't matter. Roller skating, how old am I? But it doesn't matter. If they have someone that's helping them, that's great. But as a parent, it's supposed to be your responsibility to teach them these things. I'm so tired of also hearing parents saying, oh, they're supposed to learn this in school. Okay, that's fine to a point when you're talking specific math and science and all that kind of stuff. which, yeah, 99% of it they're not going to use as an adult. But I get why you have to be taught that in school. But here's the other thing. You're taught basic math, addition, subtraction, for many years. You're just learning it maybe with letters and algebra or in other situations. But you're consistently using all of that. Basic life skills, even as a child, need to be consistently, repetitively taught. That's just the way most people's brains work. And again, you're going to have your exceptions. I get that. I'm just talking middle of the road right now. But again, if you're not working with your child, you're doing it wrong. And this is not me saying, culturally or anything like that. There are ways to do things to teach your children the basics of life. I get that. But again, there's no need for loudness. There's no need for physicalness. There's just no need for that. That just teaches kids, either they'll do it to someone else or they'll just think negatively about their parent or caregiver. And that's not helping either. I hear, don't be friends with your kids until they're either over 18 or over 21 or whatever. I understand that, but I don't think that's, how do I want to say it? That's just not always how it works. Some parents and caregivers do want to wait until their child is considered an adult before they have certain conversations with them. But at the same time, there are other conversations you have to have with your children that are under 10 or young teenagers. You're not acting as a friend. You're, again, teaching them basic life skills, basic life, there goes my brain again. Just basic life points. It's not that you're being their friend. You have to, again, consistently repeat yourself because there are so many kids that just don't get it. The first time, the second time, the 100th time, the 1000th time. And if you don't get that as a parent or a caregiver, you're doing it wrong. You have got to learn patience, which is super hard. I get it. Our oldest is almost 24. The twins are 16 and our youngest is 14. You would think by now they know to do some basic chores after dinner because they've been doing it for years and years every night. Every Monday, we have garbage. They need to be reminded of that. Why? You've been doing it every week for how many years? Because they've always helped us with those kinds of chores. Why do they need to be repeated when it's been happening every Monday for years and years? They don't want to do it. But why get upset and frustrated? Frustrate yourself, let alone getting frustrated with the kid for having to repeat it. Again, as teenagers, you would think, oh my God, you should know this by now. It doesn't always, it's not that they don't remember, they don't want to do it. So of course they're gonna act like they don't remember. Who's excited to take out the garbage? Who's excited to sweep the kitchen floor and clean off the stove or unload the dishwasher? Okay, well, I like unloading the dishwasher, but you have to be reminding them all the time. Go brush your teeth. You're supposed to brush your teeth every morning and every night. I still have to remind my youngest. We remind her all the time. She doesn't want to do it. It's not the first thing on her brain. Basic stuff like that, even hygiene, it's not embedded in everyone's brain. People have to be reminded sometimes. And if you, again, are frustrated with reminding them, you're doing it wrong. Not that you shouldn't be a parent. That's not what I'm saying whatsoever. But you have to realize that even when you repeat yourself 1,000,000,000 times, I don't even know how many zeros that is, but 1,000,000,000 times, that's what you have to do. And you know what? When they go to college, let's say, and they're not in your home anymore, don't think it's going to end, because they're going to be like, oh, now my parents, my caregiver's not here to tell me to brush my teeth, so I definitely don't have to do it. But how many times when your parents call you in your dorm or your apartment and say, did you brush your teeth? Typically when your kid's over 18, you don't do that anymore. But maybe you should, because that's doing it right. You have to keep telling them. Yeah, there is a time when you have to, as I'm told, cut the cord and let them do things for themselves. I get that. But there are just some basic things that it's not a big deal to remind them. That's just continuing to be a parent, because you don't stop being a parent when your kid leaves the house. You never stop being a parent. I'm 51 and I talk to my mother every day. Number one, we have a close relationship, always have, and always will. But I still ask for advice. I still bitch and whine. I still just... And I am so not perfect. Never will be, don't want to be. But there's just something in my head when I see certain parents or caregivers. I'm like, oh my God, you're doing it wrong. There's so many cliches. And of course, I'm blanking on them. What is it? You get more flies with honey, or you get more flies. I don't remember the phrase. Look it up. But anyway, that's the thing. You can't be nice all the time. I get that. You do have to be stern. You do have to have limits and boundaries. And I'm really bad with boundaries. I admit that. But for the most part, my new phrase is, I want to raise good humans. I want to develop good humans. My hashtag was raising good humans. Now my hashtag is going to be raising good humans and developing good humans. Because that's what we're doing as parents and caregivers. It's a gorgeous night outside. There goes a motorcycle. That's what I love about my videos. They're totally real. Unedited. This is me. But again, it's not that I go around grocery shopping and being like, ooh, don't do that with your child. But let me tell you, I have definitely stepped in. I was at a doctor's office one time, and there were two very young parents with maybe a 1-year-old, one was holding, and they were arguing so loudly and very nasty voices, let alone the words that were coming out of their mouth. And one of their moms was there too, just sitting there on her phone. And the baby's just sitting there, like, so bad for the baby. They feel the negative energy, they hear the tone of voice. And these parents should not have been doing that in public. There were like 5 other people in the waiting room. And I just had it. And I walked up to them and looked at them and said, excuse me, we do not need to hear your conversation. You guys are very loud. And with a baby on your lap, that is uncalled for and disrespectful. You want to have a private conversation and a fight, then that's what you do. You have a private conversation, not in front of all these complete strangers and being so loud and disrespectful to each other, let alone in front of a baby. Guess what? They were doing it wrong. And to me, the worst part is, I'm assuming they learned that from their parents. They learned that from their grandparents, their aunts and uncles. So frustrating. This is when I want to just wave a magic wand and be like, here, I'm giving you tips just right into your brain. Use them. Raise good humans. But to raise a good human, you need to be a good human. Not perfect, just a good person. Let that sink in. Until next time, wishing you health, wealth, happiness, and freedom.